You've mentioned the First Amendment Defense Act, and I'm glad you did. The Catholic bishops, our bishops, have expressed deep concerns over the future.
They're my bishops too.
I meant to include you in that.
Okay,
our bishops, yours and mine, and most of our viewers, many of our viewers here on EWTN. The Catholic bishops have expressed deep concerns over the future of religious liberty, especially an emerging attempt to punish those of us who believe that marriage is the union of husband and wife. It's not just us Catholics, though. It's evangelicals, Mormons, Orthodox Jews, Eastern Orthodox Christians, others who have been penalized or fired from government jobs, or whose adoption agencies have been excluded from working to help orphan children find good homes. This has happened not just to Catholic Charities, but to Evangelical Lutheran Children's Services as well. And small business owners, as we know, have faced bankrupting fines by the government for declining to facilitate same-sex ceremonies, bakers, photographers, and so on.
And there are legions of others who are violating their conscience and going through a very difficult time personally and going along with the decision, even though it creates a real moral dilemma for them. So you're not even hearing of the cases of people who bow to the state, but do so with a very heavy moral consequence to their own psychology, their own emotional and spiritual being.
Driven by fear of penalty.
Exactly.
Now, in his very powerful Obergefell dissent, Chief Justice John Roberts on the Supreme Court warned, and I quote him, "The Solicitor General candidly acknowledged that the tax exemptions of some religious institutions would be in question if they opposed same-sex marriage." He went on, "There is little doubt that these and similar questions will soon be before this court. Unfortunately, people of faith can take no comfort in the treatment they receive from the majority today." End quote. Now, given the seriousness of these religious liberty threats, recognized even by the Chief Justice, what would you do as president to protect the rights of Christians and other dissenters from the new normal on marriage? Specifically, would you seek passage of the First Amendment Defense Act in your first?
Yeah, I think that's probably the best short-term answer, which is to create some space and create stop the federal government from pursuing through its regulatory structures or even through litigation or prosecution. Anybody in the business community or anyone who receives government service or government dollars for providing, for example, adoption services and the like, creating that space to allow people to exercise their religious freedom in providing these services. And I know that's been twisted and turned by many in the media that we're legitimizing bigotry, but that goes to Robert's point, which is there's nothing in this opinion that gives you any sense that you're protected, because what the court found was that there's no rational basis for you to have an opinion that marriage should be between a man and a woman. So the only reason, again, according to the court, is that you hate gay people. That in the end, they said it specifically in DOMA, but they sort of alluded to it in the second case, which is, if you believe in traditional marriage, you believe in man-woman marriage, you simply do so because you hate, because there's no other reason you can support it. That's the real problem here, is that we've eliminated thousands of years of history as to what, and every cultural norm, natural law, everything you can think of, and said none of those things are real. They're all imagined. They're all constructions to protect. Can you imagine that thousands of years ago, when marriage was instituted, that it was only instituted because people hated gay folks? I mean, that's the only reason that marriage was instituted.
Yeah, it's risible on the face of it. I mean, so if there's no rational basis to believe in man-woman marriage, then the new dispensation of reason, which is to embrace same-sex marriage as equal to man-woman marriage in law, that new dispensation of reason is now being used as a way of trumping the religiously grounded but altogether rational belief in man-woman marriage. So we who believe in marriage and have rational grounds for doing so and are bolstered in our belief by our faith and compelled by conscience to regard marriage in this way, we're now up against a new theory of what reason
You're outlaws.
commands.
You're outlaws.
So in a struggle between the new dispensation of reason and the ancient dispensations of our faith, how's this going to come out?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I fear how it's going to come out. I mean, if you look at how some of the cases are coming out right now, it's not encouraging.
Yeah.
It's not encouraging. You see businesses being put out of business. You see Catholic Charities and others who have been excluded. And I suspect, as Justice Roberts noted, that nonprofits are going to be
They're next.
They're next, and the nonprofit status and eligibility for grants and all those things, particularly if, depending on what happens in this next presidential race, if the party in power now stays in power in the White House, I don't think there's any question that this ball will start rolling. I think the president and his people now, within a year of the election, are not going to push this very hard. I think they realize that if they push this right before an election, that this issue will flare up again, and probably not going to be. Yes, it will validate all of the concerns that I think a lot of the American public has. I mean, even there are thoughtful people on the left who say, "Wait a minute, we can't." And even some gay and lesbian activists who said, "Wait, we can't go this far. We have to. If we've been arguing tolerance all these years, then we have to be tolerant also." But that's not where the left is. That's not where President Obama is. It's not where Hillary Clinton is. I just don't think they're going to do anything particularly dramatic between now and the election. But if they're successful, that will definitely happen. Definitely come.
Very well.